Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from AMPro Engineering. This is a brand new WPL product. It is an RTR, and it is the all-new Land Cruiser shown here on the left. There's some information here on the package. They have made some changes. I'm not going to focus too much on here. Feel free and pause if you want to see this. But the one that we have in the box is the C54 in red. Now I have a C54, which I've got next to me. This one here is the brand new ready to run version, and they've made quite a number of changes. I haven't had an RTR WPL that isn't the D series, or in fact the E series, in quite a long time. In fact, I think I've only had my RTR from probably around 5 or 6 years ago. I mentioned earlier that I have a C54. This one right here. Now this is the C54 that came out when it was only available as a body upgrade for your C chassis. I adore this truck. Undercarriage wise, it's had a little bit of work done to it. We have metal front axle, metal drive shafts, 2-speed transmission, some AMPro designed wheels, and these are RC 4-wheel drive mudslinger tires, which I absolutely adore. And then of course we've got some folks inside of this guy, some very minor detailing. Cosmetically, this truck is identical. No molding changes to the new version of this. In fact, this version, when it was even just sold as a body, did come with these wheels and tires. This tire's popping off. Put you back on there. Whoa, holy. Boy, that feels... It's bouncy, but it feels good. These other C chassis have these internally sprung shocks. You can see that right there. It's just a little shock body. The spring is on the inside. They work fine. They're always a bit on the squeaky side, but I think they work beautifully. These look outstanding in that they've got this externally coil-sprung shock. These, I believe, are friction shocks, which I'm not really sold on oil-filled shocks at vehicles of this size, but that's a separate discussion. We've got beautiful molded links for the rear 4-link. The front is a 3-link with a panhard bar right here. That's also updated. Very nice. You can see the original has very, very simple molded links. They're not beautiful. Again, they work. They're just kind of ugly. The frame is also a very, very simple laser cut frame, whereas this one here, I believe, it's still laser cut, but it's different. These trusses are much, much larger over here. This is a new transmission as well. The ground clearance is significant, is very, very high. If we drop the camera down, you can see where the bottom of the transmission is there versus the 2-speed. Now, granted, these tires are smaller as well, but wow. Yeah, that's got a lot more ground clearance. Now, this is not a one-to-one comparison because, again, we are talking about a 2-speed transmission versus a single-speed transmission, but still a heck of a lot more ground clearance on this RTR. They painted the light buckets internally, so that's got a very, very nice look to it. The battery area is right here. Why is this so much? Why are all my cars like this? I don't understand why I must ruin everything. Oh, this is a 4? What the hell is this? This is a 4-wire battery? I've never seen this before. That's annoying. So here's the battery plug. Oh, man. Okay, well, they've done a new proprietary plug, which I'm not thrilled with. We can complain about that later. As long as it works, I mean, really, that's what I'm concerned about. All right, so here is the radio. This is much cheaper than the one I'm used to. The one that this truck has some additional functionality. This one here is the base model radio. It doesn't even have the soft touch. Like, here's the D series. Soft touch looks great. You can see how it's got this really nice satin finish to it, but soft touch doesn't last. Under the soft touch, it looks like this, but you can see how much cheaper this looks. Let's go ahead and put a couple of batteries in here. You're going to use a Phillips screwdriver to open this sucker up. There's 2 AA batteries that you'll put in here. Power this on. This is a very, very basic radio. Usually the power switch is, it's moved. The power switch is now right here. So it's got the headlights on. No tail lights on this one here. Let's see here, train left and right. Why is it pulling down a bit? Oh, I see. There's just a lot of... Oh, I see why. I've got to adjust the steering angle a bit. Okay. It feels good. The throttle resolution is quite high. I mean, look at this. I can make it really creep along. All right, so just to kind of compare, I think this is the V3 radio. You can see that back here, it has the shift option right there. This is for the light kit and the sound kit. And then this is for the winch in, winch out. But otherwise, it's a very, very similar, actually I think it's identical. And likely underneath, yeah, you can actually feel it's under this sticker is a hole. They've just simplified this for the RTR version. This V3 radio, I don't know if it comes with any cars, but I think I bought this. I really like these radios. I think they're very, very comfortable. This one has a cheap feel. This one has a less cheap feel, but they're definitely cheap radios, but don't knock them. They're fully functional. They work. I've never had one fail. No, I know. I should have taken a video of this falling in the water, but it still works. Wow, that's fantastic. They're just basic. This pretty much has all the extra pieces that the other one had. Yeah, it does. So basically you've got the alternate bumper, which this truck has on it here. These are these weird, like, kind of brush guards that go from this part of the bumper to there on the running board. These are the extra lights for this grille. Okay, so you have two lenses there and these corner markers. This truck actually has all 4 headlights filled in. So those are some of the cosmetics. You've got some other options over here. The roof rack, lights that would go right there. I think they actually go in this orientation. And then there's little 3mm holes in the back if you actually want to run 5 LEDs, which, why haven't I done that? That's not... I'm actually not a big fan of roof racks. That's why this one doesn't have it. I only put this bumper on because I wanted to have the winch on there. Okay, these are, oh, this is actually really, really good. So the lights, the taillights come pre-painted, metal inserts for the side view mirrors, some more screws. Ooh, look at this. What a cool looking charger. This little blue thingy here is to pry stuff off of the body. One spare link as well. This little beige thing in here, this is for the spare tire. This beige is the color that they call yellow. So, yeah, that's up for debate. These things are really, really customizable just out of the box. And there's so much stuff you can put on these to make them unique. So these are the running boards right there. You can see this piece here. That's going to have to go there. I guess it doesn't have to go there. It depends on the look you want to get. So that's the running board. This is the snorkel, side view mirrors, roof rack, or the roof rails for the standard roof. Door handles. This is for the snorkel. That part would go right there. Lots of wipers. Okay, these little pieces here, I've forgotten them out before. They go right there. They're basically light blockers. And then your spare tire. Do I even have a spare tire on this? Oh, yeah, I have a matching spare. I think what I'm going to do is pull the body off, partly because I want to do some painting to the body because it's boring, but also I want to see the chassis. So to pull the body off, there's a screw right there, one right there, and then there's these, at least this one here at the rear. They might be, I thought there was one in here somewhere. Oh, yeah, right here. These two on the sides. Okay, so that's going to come off. These two here at the front. As I recall, this body is never easy to remove. It's even worse on mine with all the added wiring for the electronics and the winch and all the stuff that I perpetually do to make everything harder to work on. Okay, so that's out. You have to pull the headlights out or unplug them. Pull off these two screws and you can just pull it off of the board. All right, so the board has one screw in it right here. It's just this one here. I think WPL has come quite a long ways. I don't see anything here that I recognize. I think this plate might be an old part. The axles are definitely the same axles. This looks like a polished product. It really looks good. It feels good. It doesn't feel floppy. This one here, that one feels floppy. Transmission-wise, I don't know how this is going to behave. We're going to see pretty soon. As I mentioned, I wanted to detail up the body. So here's the body. I already have some wheels designed. I found these tires here on eBay. We might as well take them out. It says SCX24. It's those. And these are like 10 bucks, maybe less. So these are what we're going to run on this truck, which means I have to custom do some wheels. The problem is this truck tends to sag a little bit when you put it down, whereas this one doesn't. This truck might look a little bit high with these. To remove the interior, because I want to paint the interior, because again, this is boring. We'll pop this out here. 1 screw, 2 screws, and then there's going to be one back here in the corner, one back there in the corner. To remove the glass, there's a little clip right here. You see that? You have to push the glass over the clip. Do this carefully because the window is polycarbonate and that's more susceptible to breaking. And we might as well pull off the black pieces just because we don't want to get any overspray on them. Masked off the windows. I thought this would just be easier because it's... I messed that up. I'll fix that real fast. It's got simple cut lines, so we'll just shoot all this black and be done with it. Did some detailing on the interior. Painted the dash a little bit, kind of gave it a wood grain-esque look. A little bit of a contrast there. 3D printed some remotes that I designed. Got a little Lancia Stratos, Fiat X19 right there. Some goodies in the back. Some more 3D printed baskets again. I think all 3 characters are from Jurassic Park. They're all 3.5 inches. I don't know if this guy's from a newer version, but I really like using these because they've got a lot of articulation. You can see you can get a nice bending in there. His legs fit in the back. Ellie fits pretty well. Her arms don't quite reach, and I glued her back down, so whoopsie daisies. Whipped up this wiring harness for the taillights and side repeaters. So the side repeaters are just going to be on the whole time. Same with the rear taillights. They all go to this JST connector, which I jumpered off of this. Sorry, it's all covered in liquid electric tape. This lead on the power switch for the power, and this lead here for the ground. This way it's switched when you turn the power on, the lights come on. I am installing the upgraded motor. There's a link to that in the description. You can see that diameter wise, they are identical. It's the length that's the main difference here. This has a lot more torque than this motor here. One of the main issues with it is that it comes with the pinion in the wrong spot. It's not gonna reach. So what I did very easily was I used a torch to heat up the pinion and push it down the shaft, and that is going to work beautifully. There's nothing here inside the box, so that's not going to get in the way. Obviously, if you don't have a torch, that's going to be a little bit harder. This will allow you to use, because you can see the screws are in different spots here, but the gearbox already has the holes for the original motor there, and the holes for the new motor are going to go there and there. So that's not going to cause any issues whatsoever. You can shim these, but then you would need a longer screw, but that's probably a safer way to go. Slight error. The screws that hold the new motor in are actually M3s, not M2.5s. So I happen to have some 5mm long M3 screws, and that did the trick. Those are a lot easier to find than M2.5s. With the vehicle all back together, you can see what I have done. These are the wheels that I made. Added some stripes because I love stripes, especially tricolor ones. Interiors all put in there. I think it looks really neat. With all the people in there and all that. Bunch of junk in the back, which is good. I think we need to go for a drive. the hell is this? We're in the middle of... No, what the... Oh. And on that... We ended up going on a small vacation, and my son and I drove this one and a few of the other cars for like 5 days straight. This one easily got 15 batteries run through it without any problems. It runs exceptionally well. It's easy for me to drive. It's easy for him to drive. Really, it's easy for the whole family to drive. The only thing that's a little bit odd about it is I'm used to these things creeping along in first gear. All of my WPLs have 2-speed transmissions except for this one. So what I would do is I would try and like inch it along really, really slowly, which it would do, but then it would hit an obstacle and stop. Whereas on the other vehicles, I'd be providing a lot more throttle. So the vehicle has a lot more torque to go over obstacles. Whereas in this one here, I would approach something that I can't go over, and then I'd have to give it more power, and it would then just kind of like bounce over it, which was a little bit weird, but I got the hang of it. The question is, do you want one? This is an RTR vehicle. So someone that's got higher end RC cars, you probably aren't going to want something so basic. As someone who owns serious RC crawlers and trail trucks, I still see a beautiful place for these smaller scale ones because, as I mentioned, I just got back from a trip where I was able to throw 4 of them in the car in the space that one 1/10 scale vehicle would have taken up. So that was wonderful. But for me, I would much rather have a vehicle that had the 2-speed and all the metal parts. With that said, my son drove this the entire time for the most part, and I heard 0 complaints from him. He loved this thing. A couple of my cars have this remote here, and when working with this, give him about 3 minutes and he tells me it's too heavy. There were no complaints here. And to be honest, even for me, after using both of these, I kind of found myself not really wanting that. In fact, this is one of my favorite remotes. This is this Turbo Racing P32, and you can see that they're pretty close to the same size. This is obviously higher end and more fully functioned, but you get the idea. The modifications I did, like the wheels and the rims and the upgraded motor, again, all good for someone who has experience with these, but out of the box, this is going to be a pretty good vehicle for someone with very little experience. In particular, the number one complaint I've heard about this vehicle is that stock motor, which is a bit too underpowered. These complaints tend to be coming from people who have experience with vehicles that have more power. So I think leaving this completely alone for a newcomer to RC is going to be great. It's not fast enough to really damage itself, and its behavior going for hikes and walks is just outstanding. It is not a rock crawler. Get that out of your head, especially with the factory tires, which I don't care for. This is a trail truck. It's a truck that someone can play with in the backyard, in a dirt field. It's a solid little vehicle. Link in the description if you are interested in this vehicle. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.